Hi everyone, this is Wen. Today I will introduce how I did the exercise 2 of Database Management System 2 class. This exercise will allow us to play with the relational algebra expressions. All the source code has been zipped into the file folder that attached in the announcement of this exercise. If we have already done exercise 1, we've already have a data view project set up in the Eclipse. So what we will do is to unzip this zip folder. You can see from my repository, I've already downloaded this folder and unzip it. If we go to the data view folder, we will see a source folder. This folder keep all the source code of tasks. You can see there are a bunch of tasks starts with RA as a prefix. So what we will do is to copy all these files into our existing repository. So how to find a repository of our current project? You can right-click the project and property, and you can see the location, or click this button. So this is what I have right now for my existing project. So we will also find out the source folder, data view, source folder, and copy all the RA files into. So you can see I've already copied them into. So let's go back for the next step. Further, we have to copy and replace two Java files into the model file folder. So let's go back to my repository. So if you can see from the source folder, there's also another folder called the data view models. So data view models, and this is where you will copy from the zip folder to your existing repository. These two files is what you are looking at: data view underscore big file.java and data view underscore table.java. So you will copy and paste these two to this folder, and next step we will prepare for our input data. So the input data has already been provided under the zip folder as well. This is course, professor.txt, and taught.txt. So these three is all you need for the input files. So let's get back into my current repository. Firstly, you should understand where is a working directory so that we can put those files into. So if you go to the data view and you go to the web content folder, and you will see a workflow task dir. So this is a working directory of your current project, data view project. So we'll copy these three files into. So you can see I've already copied them into professor and course.txt and taught.txt. Okay, after you've done these steps, I think you're ready to go. So let's go into the code. I believe from the last exercise you noticed that all the workflows are triggered from this test.java file. So we also add another RA workflow to this test.java. So this is where we trigger these RA workflows, and mainly you will work with the RA workflow.java to assemble your workflows, relational algebra workflows. So you can see from the beginning, I import three input files from my current repository working directories, and you can notice I delete all the other comments or codes that is not used in this project. So let's keep going. So I record another video that to put the extra inputs as files, but I noticed that's very complicated. So there's another easier way to make this work is to directly input string as another input. Because you can notice that if in the relational algebra we have several operations like the select, project, and rename, not only we have to input which table we need to operate on, we also need to input another argument or criteria on, for example, which column we want to project or which rows we want to select and which column we need to change the name. So basically we will work with these three we will work with few operators in this exercise, but three of them needs a second input. We will all input them as a string. So you can see, let's get into the description. So this file is a workflow.documents and will be, you can get the latest or up-to-date one that is attached into the description of the exercise here. So I've already pulled it up. So you can see from the description it will tells you how you can assemble your workflows. Firstly, let's get into the workflow 1. And we will natural join the professor and taught, and then natural join this table with the course table, and this will refer as table D, and then we will rename the table D the column name with we will select this table D with the professor name equals to Lu, and then we will project it. Finally, and we will rename the course code to class number. So this is what we will do to assemble this workflow. Let's take a look at the code I'm working with. So this is a workflow 1. Firstly, I will define all the tasks I will use for this workflow. Firstly, I use 2 because I have to do 2 natural joins. I have 2 natural join tasks, and then I do a select, a project, and rename. The second part is to assemble them together with edges. So you can see I have an edge from input port 0 to this natural join 1, and input port 1 to natural join 1 as well, respectively to their input port to this task input port 0 and 1. Let's take a look at the input port 0 is a professor.txt and input port 1 is taught.txt. That's what exactly required for the first step is to natural join the professor and taught. So this can be done by these 2 lines, and then we will natural join again the existing table to the course, and you can see we put the course as an input. The input port 2 is a course.txt, so we put 2 here and connect to the natural join 2, and we also put the existing task and output to the natural join 2 as well, and respectively put into the input port 0 or input port 1 of the natural join task 2. Let's pull up the description again. So next we will do the select. After we do the natural join, we will connect this natural join again to the select function and do another inputs to this select task. You can see the 3 is the input string, professor name as Lu. Please keep in mind you have to use a backslash to escape the quotes. For the string we have to put like this, and then you will do the project again. So you can see I connect the select operator to the project again and input another input for the project, and this is a 4. Input 4 is a course code and credits. That means we will project these 2 columns. And next we will do the rename as the final step. So we connect the project to the rename and input another string to the rename, specify which column we need to rename. So this is a string. The input port 5 exactly corresponding here is what we need to rename. So this lines means we will rename the course code to the class underscore name number. So this is a new name and this is old name. And finally we'll output the rename to the output file. This file is output 0. Output port 0 is exactly we're putting here as a RA result.txt file. So let's try to run this workflow and see the result. So you can see I've already successfully run this workflow, and this is a graph that gives us a brief idea what we did. Firstly, we natural join these 2 tables, and then we natural join existing table with the course table again, and then we do a natural join. This is a natural join, and then we do a select and project and rename, and finally we get the output. You can also see the output from here. So class name, credits, and this is the output for this workflow, and you can also get the execution time as well. So let's move to the second one. Firstly, let's comment out the workflow 1 and uncomment the workflow 2. For the descriptions, we will see it's quite similar. We will do a rename first and natural join, and then another natural join and project and set difference. So you can see from my code, I also initialize several tasks in the first step, like the rename 2, and natural join 1, natural join 2, and project and set difference. They are exactly the requirements of here. So after that, I will assemble them together, same as what we did for the first workflow, and we will connect from the input port the source file. The one is a taught.txt, and the 5 is a renames column name, because the first one is we have to rename the course code to the class number. Remember, we have to rename both of them because here we are working with the course and taught table. Because they both have the course code as a column, we have to rename them both. So you can notice I have 2 rename tasks, so they are respectively renamed 2 tables. The first one is a taught. Second, here is a 2. Second one is a course. So after we rename them both, we will do a natural join. First natural join, you can see I put both of them, rename and rename 1, as input for the natural join 1 task, and then we put the natural join, because we have to natural join them twice, and then to do a project and set difference at the end. So maybe you can carefully read the descriptions, and let's firstly try to run this. I believe keep in mind there's another thing we need to change, because the project and the select criteria or requirements may be different. So you can see here for the workflow 2, the rename criteria is the same as the first one, so the fifth input port we don't have to change. But for the project, because it does not use a select in this workflow, we only need to change the project criteria or second input of the project. We have to change it to course name, credit class, class number, semester, at SSN. So I believe here is a line we need to uncommon and common the existing one. So let's take a look and see. You can see it has successfully run. So in this workflow we didn't use a professor.txt, but we only use the two, taught and course. Firstly we do both renames for them, and then we do a natural join. We do twice because we natural join them together, but keeping to the two different tables. But we have further operations on one of them to have a project, and then we will do a project. We will do a set difference between this projected table with the original one, and then we will get the output. So here is the output, and you can also check with the working repository. You may need to refresh it in order to see the result.txt, because we have specified which workflow, and it has unique name in order to distinguish from previous running workflows outputs. So you can check out your output one as well from the txt file. So let's get into the third one. Let's comment out the second workflow and uncomment the third one. So here is the requirements. So for this workflow we will work with three tables again. And firstly, Cartesian product, the professor and course table, and then select and project and rename, then Cartesian product again. So you can see I also defined the tasks at the very beginning. What tasks we will need for the workflow. Firstly is a Cartesian product, and we add a task from this task name. Then we will define the select task as well, project, rename, another Cartesian product. Then we will assemble them together. Firstly, for the Cartesian product, we need to input 0 and input 2 as the input for this task, because 2 and 0 is a professor and the course table. That's exactly what we need here, course and professor table. And then after the Cartesian product, we will input the existing table to a select operator and put a second input as a criteria for the select operator. And after the select, we will do a project again. Project has a second input, and after the project we have the rename. Rename have the second input, and then we will connect this rename operator and have its output as an input to the another Cartesian product task. And finally we will input input port 1 as the second input as Cartesian product 1. This is a taught table. You can also check here, input 1 is a taught table. Okay, so we can briefly run this project, run this workflow. Oh, sorry, I think we made some mistake because again we have to change the second input for the select, product, and rename. So you can see the select criteria has been changed, so we have to change this, and project has been changed as well, but the rename is the same as previous two, so we don't need to change this one. So let's change the select. So the select one, I believe we need to comment this one and uncomment this one, and for the select we have to uncomment this one. Let's double check. So you can see the SSN equals 0, course number equals 0, and for the project we do the course code, course name, and credits. Course code, course name, credits. So let's try it again. Okay. Still some issues. Maybe you have to double check to see where could be the problem. So it's a debugging process, I think. Okay. So far, I think it looks good. Let's try it again. Okay, I think it's a system issue or the Eclipse issue. Right now it's working fine now, and we can take a look at the graph it generated and tells us exactly what we want to do from the description. So what we do, you can refer this site as well. I will go through this part. Firstly, we will do a Cartesian product on the professor and course.txt, and then we do a select and project, and then do a rename, and then the output will do another Cartesian project with a tort.txt table, and then we put the final output into the RA result. So this is a workflow 3. So I believe you don't have these workflows existing in your current or imported RA file. You can work on to try to assemble them yourself, but if you need, maybe you can watch this video and just write exact same workflows as mine here. So there are 3 workflows from this exercise. I believe that's pretty much I will demonstrate from this video. If you have further questions, feel free to contact me and let me know. I will try my best to help. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you will enjoy this video. Until next time, happy coding.